Once upon a time, in a small forest village, there lived an old baker with his granddaughter and their loyal dog, Bruno. It was the middle of a scorching summer, and not a single drop of rain had fallen for months. The once bubbling forest streams had dried up completely. The crops and fruit trees were withering under the relentless heat. The entire village was growing anxious and sad. Each day, people would look up at the sky, hoping for rain, but the sky remained cloudless. The earth had cracked and the gardens were turning to dust. Hope slowly began to fade from the villagers' hearts. Discussions of worrying filled every home. The old baker, too, would sit outside his bakery, silently staring at the dry fields beyond. One evening, the village elders gathered everyone for an important meeting. They decided that the whole village would pray to God at the same time in their own homes. They believed that united prayers might touch the heavens. The fixed time for the prayers was decided just as the sun would begin to set. The baker returned home and told his granddaughter about the plan. That evening, as the sun started dipping below the horizon, the baker, his granddaughter, and Bruno gathered in their small living room. The baker sat down, folding his hands tightly, his face heavy with emotion. Tears welled up in his old eyes, but he quickly wiped them away, not wanting his granddaughter to see. In a trembling voice, he prayed, "Dear Lord, we need your mercy. Our village is dying. Please send us rain." Beside him, the little girl closed her eyes tightly, whispering her own innocent prayer. She said, "Dear God, please make it rain today. Grandpa is so sad, and Bruno is so thirsty too. I know you can do anything." Even Bruno sat quietly, as if he understood the seriousness of the moment. The room was filled with a deep silence, broken only by the murmured prayers of the family. After a while, the prayers came to an end. The baker wiped his face and slowly stood up. Picking up his walking stick, he prepared to leave for the bakery's small garden to check on the plants. Seeing her grandfather leave, the little girl quickly jumped up. "Grandpa, wait for me," she cried out. She ran into her room and came back carrying a bright yellow raincoat and a small colorful umbrella. Seeing her like this, the baker chuckled softly and asked, "My dear, why are you bringing an umbrella and raincoat? The sun is already gone and the sky is clear." The little girl looked up at him with sparkling eyes and said, "Grandpa, we just prayed to God for rain. If we go without an umbrella, we'll get wet when it rains." The baker stood still for a moment, stunned by her simple and pure faith. He looked outside. The sky was still wide open and blue, with not even a hint of a cloud. Yet, when he looked back at his granddaughter's innocent face, he felt something stir within him. It was as if a small voice inside him whispered, "It is good to pray, but more important is to believe that your prayer will be answered and prepare for it." His heart, once heavy with doubt, suddenly felt lighter. Smiling warmly, he reached out his hand. "Come on, my brave girl," he said, taking her hand in his. He lifted the umbrella and held it above them. Bruno wagged his tail excitedly and followed them as they walked towards the fields. Villagers sitting nearby stared at them, puzzled by the sight of an umbrella in a clear evening sky. But the little girl walked proudly, confident that the rain would come. They reached the garden, and the baker checked the dried plants lovingly. Meanwhile, his granddaughter played nearby, opening and closing the umbrella as if expecting rain at any moment. As night began to fall, dark clouds, unseen before, began to gather on the horizon. A cool breeze started blowing through the village. The trees, which had stood still for weeks, now began to sway gently. People looked up at the sky in amazement. The baker, standing under the umbrella with his granddaughter and Bruno, smiled with gratitude. Within minutes, heavy raindrops began falling from the sky. The dry earth soaked up the rain eagerly, releasing a beautiful earthy smell. Villagers came out of their homes, dancing and cheering in the rain. The streams began to trickle once more, and hope returned to every heart. That night, the entire village celebrated, thanking God for answering their prayers. And the baker knew deep inside, it was not just the prayers but the belief that had brought the miracle. The story of the old baker and his granddaughter teaches us an important lesson about belief. In difficult times, our faith is often tested and doubt creeps into our hearts. But true belief means acting as if what we prayed for is already on its way. Many people pray but still live in doubt, and that weakens their efforts. The granddaughter's simple faith showed that belief fuels actions, and actions lead to miracles. In life, belief acts as the foundation for our dreams and efforts. When we start something with full faith, success becomes much more likely. If we approach our goals with fear and doubt, we often give up too easily. But when we believe firmly, we become resilient and persistent. Belief strengthens our spirit, guides our actions, and ultimately leads us to success. Whether it's in prayers, goals, or healing, belief is the hidden power that changes everything. So, always believe, not just in prayers, but also in yourself and your dreams. Because unwavering belief is the key that unlocks the doors to our brightest futures. Thanks for watching. Keep smiling always.